Awesome. So just want to welcome everybody. We've had some pretty good restaurant roundtables talking about expenses, talking about hiring. This particular one, we want to get into sustainability. I know that packaging, especially with curbside becoming 20–30% of restaurants' businesses right now, is an important thing for all restaurants to keep going forward. I actually, last week, as just kind of an experiment, one of the places that we like to go to is called The Picnic, and their packaging is all sustainable. And I posted it, and it got a really good reception. So one of the ideas I know that Vivian and we were kind of talking about is the idea of, restaurants, I think, need to realize what a marketing angle this is for them, that they are packaging their to-go and their curbside in sustainable. I know that when we make our choices, it's one of the factors that we consider. So I just want to give the floor to Vivian and maybe get a back and forth going from the restaurants or anybody that may have an opinion or have some input about how we can maybe get restaurants more on board with a sustainable packaging. So Vivian, if you want to go ahead and jump right in, go ahead and take the floor.
My computer cut out, so I'm on my phone in the middle. So it's actually Kent and Molly are coming on to talk, but I think they're going to come on a little bit later. I believe they thought it was maybe 10:30, and now that I'm looking back at the notes. So they're going to do a little presentation on what the city has been putting together in terms of opportunities for co-op purchasing. But really what they came to us is, they're really trying to start this green initiative and certification initiative for businesses. And we thought, what a great first step. Going green it requires a lot, and we all have so much on our plate, but if we can piecemeal a little bit at a time, and begin to take on some small things, maybe together as a community, we can champion this initiative, which is an amazing thing to do for our environment. It's an amazing thing to do for our city, and to continue to, really begin to really put Delray on the map as one of those cities that is really progressive. It already is progressive, and we're on the map for it, but continue to champion that and grow with that reputation by being forward thinking and doing the right thing. And we know that there's barriers to doing some of the things that are required to go green. And we thought, well, what a great first step if we can maybe do it through the restaurant community and through single-use items, paper products, bags, etc. If it makes sense. Hey,
Vivian.
And so, I'm sorry.
It's Ken Edwards. Sorry.
Oh, okay, great. I'm glad you're on, Kent. Thank you. I was just I said we were waiting. So Kent's going to go take over, and he's going to give a little presentation, then we'll get into talking about it.
Okay, and I am sorry that I was running late there. Actually, the Chamber of Commerce Leadership Delray is today, and we were given a presentation to them. So are you sharing the presentation for us? Hello?
I personally am not. If we have to give you the capacity to share content. And I'm not.
Share screen is enabled, so whoever has the presentation should be able to put it up on the screen. We did not receive a copy here, so I don't have it to click through for you.
Okay, here we go.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Kent and Molly, to the group?
Okay, yes, I will, David. Can you see the presentation there now?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. And I do apologize for being a little bit late, and I know that we have a short period of time, so I'm going to talk very fast. My name is Ken Edwards. I'm the Sustainability Officer for the City of Delray Beach. I come with a long history of education and more than 30 years working in environmental management and regulation. So these are issues that are very important to me personally, but I also think that it's important to work with our partners and the business community is a big partner that I really am glad to be able to talk with today about an issue that I'm sure all of you have heard discussed at the commission level, and that is plastics use. So plastics and alternatives to plastic are something that we've been approached by many different parties with concerns, and what can we do about this? So plastics are the conventional kind of plastics are made from crude oil, and so that's not a sustainable kind of product. And those conventional plastics also don't break down in the environment for long periods of time, breaking down into components that are beneficial. They'll break up into small pieces, and that causes all kinds of environmental problems too. We're finding plastics in the bellies of all kinds of organisms and through the food chain, which ultimately is our food chain. Plastics really are something that we need to move away from. But granted, they are a part of a lot of businesses. And so how do we transition from conventional plastics to alternatives to plastic? That was the topic for the discussion today. So I wanted to start out with a couple of terms that you're going to hear as you were looking at different kinds of products to replace the plastics that are a normal part of business. So recycling, everyone's aware of, and conventional plastics, a lot of those are recyclable. Some of them are not, like styrofoam, for example, other than very few places like grocery stores that accept them, or some very specific recycling efforts, but not on the curb. So recycling is good, but it really is just the first step of good. And we're looking at items that we can put back into the environment, and ultimately over some time frame, they're going to be provide a beneficial product, or at least become a normal part of the environment. Those terms are things like compostable. Most of the products that alternative to plastics that you see that say that they are compostable require an industrial composter. They won't break down in your backyard composter. And you see a picture of an industrial composting operation. It requires certain timeframes that can be monitored by having them in these rows. It requires temperatures to be reached for those times. And so they can measure the temperature in these, and it's a big time production operation. Ultimately, you get a material that can actually be a complement to soil, but that compostable product takes a little bit more than just putting into your backyard composter. Biodegradable, and these compostable and biodegradable, there are standards that are in published kinds of records like ASTM of these times and temperatures, light. Biodegradable typically doesn't require the kind of management that compostable does, and materials will break down. It still takes time. So those are some terms that you're going to use that you're going to see as you're looking at different products that are out there. Other kinds of products and terms, renewable sources, are things that can be grown. So here are examples of bamboo, birch, avocado pits, and sugarcane. Those products are actually grown. They are carbon sinks. They can be used, they're sturdy, and then they can be put back into the environment, and they are biodegradable. But not only do they degrade into a component that is beneficial to the environment, they also can be regrown, and that's where the renewable component is. So it's good on both ends of the product, or it can be if it's grown in a sustainable kind of way. The recycled content is important as you are looking at alternatives to plastic. So you have certain paper materials. You have to be careful of coatings that are on those. Some of them can be dangerous. So if you have a paper product, especially if it's going to last for very long and be watertight, have to look at those coatings, and also water bottles and some plastics that are made I'm seeing a big push from some of the soda drink makers where they are using bottles that are 100% from recycled material and can be continually recycled, because that's another issue in recycling, such as with paper. Paper fibers break down with each time they are recycled, and you get to a point where there is a paper product, which is the fibers are so small they can't be recycled. So that recycled content is an important issue also. Another point that you're going to see as you were looking at alternative to products, there is a variety of different kinds of organizations and systems that certify materials. That's really, it's nice, and it is complicated. It's nice to have an organization that has an expertise in reviewing, evaluating, and testing materials. It does take some time to sort through. And this is something that the city wants to work with. I'll get to in a minute as far as our sustainable foodware document. I did want to address, as you are doing comparisons between conventional plastics and these renewable, recyclable, compostable, and biodegradable products, there are going to be some that are cost effective, not all of them. And the city is hoping that we can work with the community, and the community can share information so that each business can find those things that really work within their business plan, move away from plastics, but still keep an eye on the bottom line, which is a requirement. Okay, so the sustainable foodware document we put together, and we can send it out to everyone. There is a link to it on the city's webpage. We did research, and it's not extensive. It's not on every distributor and every product, but it's a half a dozen pages of different materials, different products, different distributors, some of which are locally, and I'll put in a plug for the sugarcane, even though there's negative parts of growing sugarcane. If they take those materials that are grown locally and reuse some of that waste material rather than burn it, then those can be positives. And it doesn't have to be shipped from a long distance. It's a plant material that is from right here. And there are some distributors that are in South Florida also. If they receive it in bulk, then and then send out small portions, that's better than us having small portions sent from around the world. So this sustainable foodware document is intended to be a living document, and also help businesses get to lots of different sources that they may be able to evaluate for fitting into their business. And the Office of Sustainability hopes to be able to work with the community, see what works for them, take off things that aren't good products, add on things that are found. And so we think that this is going to be a real useful tool. My last topic is to say that these alternative to plastics and recycling, more efficient use of energy is a part of our business certification program. And we do have one business that has been certified so far. Really encourage people to take a look at that. The plastics is just one part of that, but there's a lot that we can do. Keep businesses strong, but also have a clean and safe environment. And with that, the next topic in talking about how we might be able to transfer to using alternatives to plastic is use of a buying consortium, in addition to sharing information between different restaurants, buying in bulk. And there's a couple of different ways that can be done, but I'll turn it back over to Vivian or David for that discussion. And thank you.
Thank you, Kat. One of the things that I just want to go around and do that we didn't do is a little quick introduction, just to say who's on the phone and where you're from, and then we can go from there. Open it up to discussion on this, what everybody's thoughts are about this initiative. Do we want to go around one, like in any kind of order you want me to call out to folks, or do you just want to just get on here and hop on and unmute yourself and just
Okay, I'm David Beal.
let us know who you are, where you're from?
I'm on exec board. I'm also chair of the Advocacy Government Affairs Committee, and I've been working with Kent and Molly in the city for the past year on sustainability issues and having the chamber be involved in these issues and trying to make it a win-win for the environment, for our businesses, and for our city to promote itself as an attractive site for greenism and sustainability. And when Vivian came aboard as a chair-elect or vice chair, whatever we call her now, I enlisted her, and she's taking the ball and helping me carry it to all of you in the restaurant business and hopefully throughout the city. So welcome to sustainability.
Good morning, I'm Christina Morris, and I'm a commercial realtor in Delray Beach for over 20 years. I have a strong interest in eliminating plastics from society for the future planet for my children. So I'm so happy to see that Ken has brought his information to us. So hopefully we can formulate a path forward for our restaurants to eliminate plastics from, especially their takeouts and things like that. So thank you.
Hey, John Brewer here. I just want to jump in and thank everybody for coming here. Like I said in the beginning, it seems that with curbside and takeout taking up so much more now of the revenue for restaurants, and that doesn't look like it's going to go back. I just read an article the other day where they said dine-in is increasing, but the to-go and curbside has not decreased. So the need is going to be there going forward. I think a lot of it has to do with education for the restaurants. Kent, you were showing that option that I thought was very, that was awesome, really. The difference between a plastic stir, which, as we all know, can get stuck up turtles' noses, that famous video, and things like that, versus the bamboo one, same price. So there's no cost really. I do like, I think the other discussion we were having with, is it the carrot or the stick that we use with these restaurants? Is it punishing them for not doing it? I mean, most of the restaurants, it could either be one of two reasons. It's either an education issue, I think, or it's a revenue issue. If they have to pay more for the type of packaging, they know they're going to get a bigger discount or whatever it may be.
Yes.
I also posted this morning, the food supply has become really, there's a lot of inflation going on. Whether it's temporary or not remains to be seen. So these margins are getting squeezed ultra thin. So if we can find a path, I think some type of a program maybe where we offer stickers or recognition to restaurants that are hitting certain benchmarks maybe might be something to consider, where we're using more of a carrot as opposed to a stick. And then maybe once we hit a point where, where we're not getting any more traction and costs have come down, maybe in proteins and vegetables and other things, maybe there's an option there, maybe to a little swift kick in the butt, maybe to kind of get some of these others on board. But I think with Delray Beach, like everybody said in the beginning, we have such a great reputation here for doing the right thing by our environment and by the ocean, especially because we live in it. I'm one of those people that takes at least 4 or 5 trips a week to the beach, just to collect myself. I love it. I couldn't see myself living out west. Not that there's anything against that, but I think, we could get a lot of voluntary commitment in this. So I would love to see that explored. And I love the idea of creating a warehouse of some type where maybe by bulk purchasing, we're able to eliminate some of the costs for these restaurants going forward. I think that would be a great gesture. I'm not sure how logistic it is though, but I appreciate everybody's efforts. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to take a minute to introduce myself. I'm Derek Green with Pure Life Cafe.
Oh, you're muted, Derek.
You went backwards.
You,
Muted myself.
you
All right, can you hear me
got
now?
Muted.
Yes,
There
yeah.
you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
All right.
yes,
Should I start over?
sure.
So my name is Derek Green. I'm with Pure Life Cafe, which is right off of Second. Managing partner there, just started. Previously, I was with the Breakers Hotel and Compass Group, which is the largest food service contractor in the whole world. The Breakers, if you guys are familiar, in Palm Beach has a huge green initiative. I was instrumental in pushing a lot of that green purchasing for the products that we used up at the Breakers. So I think people touched on a lot of points. Cost is one thing. The gentleman that just previously spoke mentioned the supply chain, which currently right now is completely shot. I don't know how many people are on the call that are actually in restaurants, but green products and to-go products are hard to come by, and the green products are extremely expensive. The idea of having some kind of warehouse popped into my head because I'm currently looking at buying pallets of to-go boxes, which are cheaper, but I have to get in pallets to get the price down to where we need to be. So I think with the smaller restaurants pushing the green stuff, especially because they've been hit so hard, harder than probably anybody else, and through COVID, is going to be difficult unless there's a way to get that cost down. And the storage definitely comes into an issue for that. So, but I'm very familiar with a lot of different products. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out.
Would love to get you on this team, Derek, to kind of figure it out for us, since you have so much expertise, and also to ask you about whether you've heard what you think of like negotiating instead of like having a warehouse space. Is there a possibility for negotiating group purchasing rates, larger group purchase, for larger groups?
What it comes down to is shipping. I mean, I'm working with Cisco right now to see if they will stock stuff in the warehouse. So they will stock things in their warehouses that if somebody uses 15 cases or more a month. So a case of to-go boxes, typically a green case of to-go boxes would be 150 to 300 pieces. So if we were able to get all the restaurants using the same product, and all the restaurants that use Cheney or Cisco to use the same product, or two different ones that either carrier has, then that's an opportunity to work with the carriers to get them to stock the items, because if I get a to-go box that's foam, costs me 2 cents. If I get one that's sugarcane or some pressed whatever, it's 33, 36 cents a piece. I mean, that's huge, especially with labor going up, with, a lot of different things going up. I mean, the cost of chicken right now is astronomical, higher than I've ever seen. I've never seen it over $100, and a 40-pound case of chickens has gotten up to $160. So, trying to get people to go from foam to the sugarcane is extremely difficult.
Gloves too, I think, Derek, right? They're going from 34 a case to like 138 a case.
Yeah.
It just seems like everything's getting hit for a restaurant. And they, only 3 of them I heard announced this week that they were raising prices. So that's got to give somewhere, and that's profit margin. So when we tack on sustainability, it becomes a challenge, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with inflation coming, I think we're going to see a lot of prices going up. I'm working on that myself. So, there's great companies out there. Eco Products is a pretty good company. That's a Cisco company. BioSelect is one of my favorites, but they don't seem to really work with anybody, and they just ship direct to you. So really the only way to get that price down is to buy pallets of stuff. So, and that's, people don't have storage for that. They barely have storage for one case, let alone the pallet.
So that maybe that group purchasing where they could stock for us, would be, or, you know, again, if we come together and have a warehouse space for all of us to share, maybe that's an opportunity that we could explore. The other thing, you know, the other question I have, and I think we should go do introduction, like continue with the introductions, is there a way to pass on the cost? You know, one of the things that I heard Kent say, and that I agree, like, you know, it could be sometimes it's just as little as asking, sorry, I got a call coming in, asking whether somebody needs utensils or they need napkins, rather than provide it right off the bat. Maybe that question reduces the cost. And for folks that need stuff or to go, maybe there's a surcharge because we're going green, a small, you know, that would cover the cost of the extra buck or whatever that it costs to put that together. You know, with a community like Delray, I don't think that they would mind that, knowing that they're contributing to a healthier community, but it's something that we could talk about. And I'm putting it out there so as we go along that we can consider that as well. But if anybody else would like to introduce themselves, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you, Derek. We're definitely going to need your help and your brain power on this initiative if we all decide that this is something we would like to do together.
Hello.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Out
hi.
there? One.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. My name is Mitch Sipper with RSVP. Good to see everyone. We have a unique direct mouthpiece that targets affluent homeowners. We work with many restaurants in the area, about 30. So in addition to help promoting them and driving new clients to them, we're true partners and like to bring value to them. So all this information is great for me to hear so I can go back and share with them. So nice meeting everyone and really appreciate you putting on this webinar, as well as our clients do too.
Awesome. Thank you, Mitch.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Michael Corbett. I'm with Career Source Palm Beach County. We are the Regional Workforce Board, and I didn't know about this group, so I thought I'd jump on, but I like a lot of the ideas. Out in Belle Glade, we help staff TELUS, which is the sugarcane one. I would think that they would be willing to help you folks with this initiative to do something on a more cost affordable basis, kind of what Derek was talking about. And then Vivian, what you were talking about, like every time I go to Publix, there's always some nonprofit they ask you to fund when you check out. Perhaps that would be an idea if people are willing to pay an extra quarter or 50 cents for sustainability in your restaurants. I think my wife and I would certainly do that. So I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And yes, we would love that connection to TELUS to see if they would, maybe if you can pass on the information, if they would be wanting to help us out with this, that would be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look at that. I think that we have a few other people on the call.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Gary Brightus, Atlantic Commercial Group. Kent, appreciate the presentation that you made, and Derek, your input as well. I'm all for going green as well. In fact, one of my sons participates in a bunch of, he does beach cleanups all the time with his friends in Miami. And it is absolutely mind-boggling how many tons of garbage they pick up every weekend on the beaches. It's really, it's a sad situation. The same beaches 1 week later has just an enormous amount of garbage that they collect. It's really quite sad to see it. So anything that we all can do as a community, restaurateurs, customers, et cetera, I think is just a phenomenal effort going forward. So thank you all.
Thank you. And I think we have one more person on a 619 number.
You're on mute.
That's on you.
Vivian, while we're waiting for 619, can I bring you up to date on
hello?
some backstory?
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, 619 is up. Hi.
Yeah. Hey, can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Great. The old star 6 one instead of the mute button on the phone here. This is Scott Deal with Quick Hospitality. And thank everybody for taking charge of putting this together today. Great presentation earlier, and love to hear some of the great ideas. I can speak more to the marketing side. I'm our marketing director here for our Florida office. And one of the things that we've done at Lionfish that has been really helpful from the marketing perspective in a community involvement area is we're a Surfrider ocean-friendly restaurant. And I would encourage everyone to go to the Surfrider website, look up what the ocean-friendly restaurant certification is all about. It's very simple steps that we can take as restaurants to make a big difference. And it's not cost prohibitive at all. And it's a great way that you can put that insignia on your door, on your menu, on your website, on all of your marketing collateral, and communicate that with everybody and help spread the word of sustainability and taking care of our oceans, especially that we're ocean front and we all like to talk about, the village by the sea. I think the more we can do to do whatever we can with our environment to make it better is great. So the Surfrider Ocean Friendly Restaurant Group is a fantastic way to get in there. It's things like no paper straws, no plastic straws, no single-use plastic to-go containers, things like this, where you had to take that pledge to do that already. And Cisco has some great products. They are more expensive. Everything is. I can tell you, I don't enjoy hearing the idea of putting a sustainability fee on a check or anything. A donation line would be, I think, a better option. But I think we've got some great ideas. The storaging, I know, is an issue. It's a huge issue for us with our venues. That would take care or alleviate a lot of the buying problems. I love the idea of some sort of buying collective. But yeah, I again want to thank everybody for the time and letting me share.
Thank you, Scott. It sounds like we all have like an incredible interest in this, and we would love to see if there's opportunities to move forward. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
David, you want to take on?
Yeah, I just wanted to take off on what, I was surprised what Derek said, that it's like a 30-cent difference in products. That's an awful lot to overcome for a restaurant, I would assume. And even with a co-op buying or a warehouse, I don't know how much you can cut into that. I'm certainly not within my knowledge. But in the meantime, I was going to take off on what the last speaker said and what Michael Corbett said, is maybe like when you check out at Publix, they ask you if you want to contribute $1 to whatever. So if you're checking out a takeout order, you can ask people, would you contribute 30 cents, whatever, to our sustainability products that we give you. I don't know how much of a hassle that would be for a restaurant in the takeout business.
Well, yeah, just or like the green surcharge, and and along with it, the other thing to talk about is like how we use this as an opportunity. I like that, John brought up that we could, really use this as an opportunity, a PR opportunity. Delray restaurants take the lead on championing a green community. Here are our leaders in it, and then have these maybe even like, stickers that, that could go on windows of businesses that are doing this, like green business of excellence, green restaurant, that says, says something that, or a green business of distinction or something, restaurant of distinction, something to that effect that shows that, and that these restaurants are the leaders in this initiative for our community. They're taking the first step, as a business group to come together and really work on this. And again, PR, I think there's an opportunity for a lot of PR for our community around this and for the restaurants that participate, and an opportunity to be a leader for the job.
Vivian, one other thing I want to mention is that the chamber and the city and the DDA are discussing a a joint venture to promote Visit Delray, which will involve a marketing strategy to the outside world, a new website, Visit Delray, and it would be a good opportunity for the restaurants to include a green sustainability part of the package for to attract people to Delray and Delray restaurants. People all over the country would be able to say, okay, Delray is a good place to eat, and because they're on the board with sustainability. So it's not going to happen next week, but it will be happening hopefully sometime this summer and fall as we get into season. This marketing campaign. So something for all the restaurant people to think about is something how we can get on board with that and be part of that marketing program.
Yeah, I love it. I agree with you on that, and that we can be showcased on the website, you know, for this initiative, you know, for the work that y'all are doing towards this. So I guess, is there any other feedback, that anything else that anybody wants to say about this before we start talking about next steps, like what we should be thinking about for next steps?
Just a few updates, Vivian, Christina.
Sure.
Back when Kent and I first started this, I did contact TELUS. In fact, they came to one of our Blue Planet shows, and they are overwhelmed with demand. They can't make their products fast enough. So getting discounts from them or any bulk buying at this point, they just weren't ready to do that because they were so overwhelmed. Secondly, in other areas, particularly New Jersey and Pennsylvania, there are municipalities that charge if you use plastic, if you have to use a plastic store bag or plastic takeout, there's an extra 5-cent charge per bag. And that's a mandate, that's a municipal mandate. So other municipalities are getting that, you know, have beaches and feel they need to protect the environment more than maybe inland places, are taking the initiative and mandating these types of things. And I don't think that's out of the question here either. So I think that should be on the table. Thirdly, to warehouse anything in Delray Beach right now is virtually impossible because there's no warehouse space available. When I first approached TELUS 2 years ago, we did have some space, but now it's just totally absorbed. There's just nothing available for bulk storage right now. So we'd have to talk to the city about maybe using some of their space that perhaps they have somewhere not being used.
Well, and then with bulk storage, for me, like the biggest thing is that how do we, you know, if we're going to be purchasing and we have in bulk, who's going to be distributing and tracking that too? So it becomes a little bit more complicated, right? But it's
Well,
doable.
someone's got to be in charge, that's for sure.
Doable.
But yeah. So next steps, what do we think next steps are on this initiative?
Well, I'll put it out to the restaurant people on the group. How do we get more of you to be involved?
Yeah. Hey guys, this is Scott Deal here from Click Hospitality. I think the very first thing, if this is something we're going to move forward with, is come up with some clear and concise and easy to meet goals that would create some sort of certification that the restaurants in the city and the DDA and everyone involved can use to market the initiative. Again, you know, I would go back to replicating something similar to the Surf Riders goals and, you know, adjust for what our real needs are here locally and come up with, you know, those baselines first and then start moving towards implementing it.
Okay. That's a good for us is like to what that
You're
we're
breaking
doing.
up, Vivian. You're breaking up.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
So clearly define what we're doing and what somebody gets. I know that there is already a green certification full program, but it's a little bit more comprehensive. Maybe we can do something just for this initiative, clear. And then the other thing is, I think that we need to probably, I think we need to do some investigation on what the best way to go about this is. So and I agree with David, how do we get more folks involved? So what's the best way to do this? Is it through warehousing? Is it through group purchasing? Or is it through an upcharge? like a green surcharge, that I think everyone would pay a nominal, green surcharge. I would too. I heard Michael say, but I would totally do that happily.
One bag, or bring your own bag.
Hey, Vivian,
Yeah,
I got a question, and I'm not the restaurant person. I did, when I was younger though, I worked in restaurants and bars for 10 years, and I think that it really was formative for me in customer service and operations. But I have a question that I think will be key to start out with, and that is the type of product. Because when you get into warehousing and the benefits of buying in bulk, there's got to be a similar kind of product that's used. So I think that should be on the goal list of looking at products that are available and narrowing down the types, whether it's stirrers or utensils or bowls or cups or, a subset of those.
Right. Agreed. How about do we want to create just a small work group of folks that would be willing to take to do the research and since we have right now, really, we have just 2 folks on the call with some significant expertise in this that are already doing it in the restaurant industry and have done it. And I would love for you guys to be involved in this if you're willing to, and you have the time to do it, and we can make it in a way that it's not so time it's not prohibitive, because we're investing so much time in it. I know that our time is limited for all of us. We're all working like crazy these days. So I think it's Derek and Scott. Would you be willing to work with us on this, or you want to think about it, or we get a yes now? Am I asking too much? Putting you guys on the spot to pick your brain?
No. Yeah, I'm happy to share ideas and anything I can. I think before I fully commit to jumping all in on this one, I'm opening like 3 different venues in the next 6 months, so I've got my hands full. But I'm here to help anytime you have questions. I can definitely share some ideas on what we're doing.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say about this, or anything
I
else.
have a question.
Yeah.
Kent, maybe you can explain as part of your certification process now, how much that pertains to restaurants and their products.
There is a separate section specifically for food service. We also have the hotel industry and general business. So the green business certification has a whole segment that deals specifically with restaurants. And so it is a bigger part of the green business certification for food deals with plastics than some of the others. There's also water conservation, and the water conservation items are things like not serving it in plastic bottles. So in answer to the question, there is a part of the green business that is geared specifically at food service and food service operations.
Ken, can you send that out to the group, a link to that page for the restaurants?
Sure. Let me ask. The presentation did have the link in it, and is that presentation?
Okay. Yeah, that should suffice then.
Yeah, I'll be happy to send it separately too.
So Vivian, I think that we have to see what we can do on some further research to hopefully with some other people in the industry to join us, and then reconvene in a month or 2 and present some firmer ideas.
what are the realistic timeline goals for everybody on this?
That's a good question. It depends on how many people we can get to help us on this. So we're all volunteers here.
Yeah.
I'm in the restaurant.
Absolutely.
I'm a lawyer. You know, I'm on the chamber board and head of the chair of the committee. But I have no expertise in buying or the restaurant business. We need some of you guys who are in the business to help us sort out what's real and what's not.
Absolutely.
There are
Well,
several restaurants in town already doing this. They've already adjusted their takeout. Big City has reverse osmosis machines in all of their restaurants, and they serve their water in glass bottles rather than plastic. I mean, there's several people already on board with this effort. I don't know why they don't feel the need to be at these meetings, but perhaps we could try to get them involved and find out who their suppliers are, and maybe we could hook on with some of their buying expertise, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you at Lionfish, we're doing all of those things you just mentioned. Again, as part of that Surfrider certification for restaurants, it's some really simple steps. And we buy all of our to-go products from Cisco and Cheney, water served in glass, we do Pana bottles. I mean, there's a lot of these things. The receiving, I get scared thinking about warehousing and receiving and what those costs are. But yeah, we can. Do we want to set a time to meet in a couple weeks and everybody bring some ideas back from where we are here?
And maybe bring a couple people, like if we can each reach out to a couple people that are already also doing it to engage them in the discussions too, that'd be great. And before that, if we could get a list from you guys, just from Derek and Scott, all of like, that checklist of all the items that you use and like what your favorite vendors are that you think that we should be reaching out to, that maybe we can compile a list of folks that we can go speak to, like what types of materials are the best ones to use or the most affordable, is that something you'd be willing to share so that we can get, when we engage other people, we can give them a whole, all the information?
Hi, Vivian, it's Derek. I had to step away for a second. Yeah, I could compile a list. I don't know how much time I could commit to this because I'm running a couple different businesses and just started this role. But I can definitely share a list with you of some good more cost-effective products.
Perfect. That would be great. So by category, like whatever, bowls, plates, etc., utensils, giving me the product type, and I'm sure you have it, the cost off the top of your head, as you should. I was in the restaurant industry once long ago. I owned a restaurant on Las Olas, actually. Anyway, so so if you could help with that, that would be amazing. So we know what we're looking at. It's going to be an extra $1 or whatever, $2 or whatever it is. These are the companies, and then maybe we can take it from there and make some calls to see if some of these companies are willing to us on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe I'll reach out to your contacts if you want to put me on it, Derek, and give me your contacts to see if they're, like if what you said, if we can, store with Cisco, if we as a group decide that we're going to go for group purchasing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know my Cisco rep pretty much she has all the restaurants on the app that are with Cisco, and then we just got to find out who's got Cheney and pick, 2 different products, because it would be unethical to just force everybody to buy one and favor one company. But
right,
that's probably something we could do.
Awesome. So I will, if you don't have the time, I'll do the legwork. Whatever you need. You have the expertise. I will invest the time.
And who would we speak to at the city that would be able to tell us if there's any warehouse space available? I doubt if there is, because the city's always short on space, but it never hurts to ask.
This is Kent. I was going to check with Public Works. I mean, they're gonna, I mean, I think you're right. There probably is gonna be some hesitation there, but I'm happy to ask Cynthia Buisson or Missy Barletto and see if there is some space.
Thank you.
So the other thing is when we reconvene, I think let's give ourselves 30 days realistically to reconvene, you know, so that we have a little bit more time. Maybe by that time too, we can come back and maybe Molly, Kent, and the chamber can take a lead on like how we can recognize business, what business, the restaurants that start this, not full green certification, but at least it's the initiative, right? The recognition portion or something for their window and or PR, et cetera, that we can do, and what some of the basics around it, you know, what it would entail. It's just to begin to define and delineate that a little bit more clearly, what we could, you know, that would be something that would help us, because we talked about that being one of the pieces that's missing. And I can work with Derek on pricing and Cisco and Cheney and possibility for different, whatever the 2 or 3, you know, different companies that suppliers that we could work with. And then I think the other thing is we need help maybe engaging some of the other restaurants that are doing some things, a few more people to get involved on the front end.
So the only thing I would ask you to think about is, I know you're going to be involved with Stephanie and David on the joint Visit Florida website project with the city and the DDA. If we can get a commitment from our partners to have part of the site or some page devoted to sustainability, and then we could go to the restaurant and say, we're going to have a page of sustainability, and we're going to have Lionfish, and they're going to say what they're doing, and we're going to have Big City say what they're doing. So don't you want to get on board? Sort of, that would be a carrot to say there is going to be a place to extol your virtue for sustainability. Why don't you get on board? So would you think of that when you talk to Stephanie and David and our partners and going forward?
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, this is Derek again. I wanted to pop in because you guys
Will
were discussing the warehouse space. I just want to give a little bit of input on that, because I don't want to say it's a waste of time to try to look for warehouse space, but going down that road would be quite a dilemma. I mean, when restaurants need their stuff, you're talking about, if somebody's doing a lot of to-go products, you're talking about cups and lids in multiple sizes. You're talking about pizza boxes. You're talking about to-go boxes in 3 sizes probably. That would be a huge challenge, and distribution would be a challenge. I mean, you'd turn into a Cisco warehouse. I don't see it as something doable. But, you know, I guess nothing's impossible. I think there's a lot of challenges there. I don't want anybody to put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah, Scott Deal here. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
But there might be, that's a nightmare. There might be a way to put in bigger POs to bring the price down and have Cisco warehousing, or like Derek mentioned earlier, supply chains are so bad right now. They don't have that much product available on hand. And it might be a way to have them warehouse it and bring it through on demand at the correct rate. It might be a better option to see if it could be worked. Derek, I'm on the marketing side, so I don't know. That might be something you could address better.
Well, the big thing that we did when I was at Compass Group, like I said, the world's largest, is basically they make money by pricing agreements, right? So they're working with certain suppliers The way to get this type of thing done is to get all the restaurants using the same products or stuff, similar products. Like I said, you'd want to have 2 different ones, but I mean, that's the basic way. You got to get the local, most of the products, paper products are coming out of, or plastic products are coming out of either the Miami warehouse or the Riviera Beach warehouse. And so you got to be able to get Cisco to keep it in stock so that it's readily available. Not only has COVID impacted that, but like the purchase, the flow of purchasing needs to be there. Otherwise, they're not going to keep it on their shelf in the warehouse. So the whole key to it is, I'll get that list together and work with the Cisco rep. And then if they'll stock those items and we can educate the restaurants on using it, that's the key. Part of the challenge is just the cost. So, but if everybody continues to use it and it's in stock, it should hopefully drive the cost down. But the cost of manufacturing this stuff alone is considerably more than the other traditional plastics and foams out there.
And Derek, what do you think of like a green surcharge, a small green surcharge?
Absolutely not.
And if we promote that through education? No?
Agree with that as well. Yeah, that's out.
That's, so like at Pure Green, well, we used to be Pure Greens. Now we're Pure Life Cafe. We rebranded it. New signs should be going up on the interior this week. Outer signs we're still working on that. So we use about 70% renewable, and the 30% that we're using that's not is just because we can't get the other stuff. And
right.
To offer or to put a green surcharge on there is I don't know. That's really tough. I mean, you remember, people likely remember when people started putting health insurance surcharges on checks when the Affordable Care Act went into effect, right? It causes an outrage. So that I would not do.
Okay, fair.
That would not be good.
Fair.
What about a voluntary on the takeout check?
Yeah, a donation line is not out of the question.
Yeah, the donation line to help subsidize it in a sense would be good. Like up at the Breakers, they have Roundup for charity. So, if you're at $13.50, right, you round up to $14. So it could be Roundup to help with the green initiative. That's something that would work, but that would be a voluntary thing.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an awesome way to do it. Okay. I think we have our marching order. Should we pick a next date for our meeting? And if you all want to invite anybody that you know that's in the industry that you think would be interested in joining us.
I'll start asking. I've got some people in mind that I think would definitely be interested.
Well, what's a good time for restaurant people to meet? Is this not a good time? I mean, I don't. Probably no time's a good time, but I thought morning would be better than the other time.
Earlier is better for me. This is Scott.
Yeah, early. I mean, this 10 o'clock. You're gearing up for lunch. It's pretty. Earlier in the morning would be better, or 2 o'clock. Between 2 or 4 most of the time is a slow time.
And I would also like to jump in really quick. We do have a date preset for the next one. It's August 24th. Just so you know, there's no conflicts on our end as far as scheduling. That was chosen when this first got started. So, if you want to change the date, of course, but we do know that August 24th has no conflicts.
At what time, Angel?
We have it scheduled for the same time on a Tuesday. 10 to 11 a.m. They chose that originally just because for the most part it tends to work. Of course, restaurants do breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so you're gonna miss somebody at some point in time. But overall, Tuesday seemed to be the best day because most people tend to get Monday off and they don't want to necessarily hop on a call.
Is 3 o'clock a better time for restaurant people?
No,
Yeah, that I don't know.
earlier is going to be better. I mean, 9:30.
9:30 or 9? Is 9 too early?
Not for me.
Okay, let's do 9 a.m. And can we do it next month? I don't want to wait 2 months out for the next meeting. Because if we do it
Great.
every 2 months, it'll be a year from now by the time we get out and going. And I feel excited to get this out sooner. So maybe we could do one for either July 20th or July 20th would be a great date which is a Tuesday, which puts us at 4 weeks out from today.
Sounds good.
Works for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, you can do 9 a.m. I just want to point out, I don't know if anybody on this call happens to attend this, but they do the health and wellness roundtable at 8:30 on July 20th. So I don't
That's
know
fine.
if that's, important for anybody here.
No, I think we're good.
Yeah. The 20th at 9 a.m. works
That
for
one,
me.
I go to that, but I'd rather.
Do you want to
Okay.
keep it at a
Okay,
Zoom?
so we have our
Are we going to keep this at a Zoom?
yes. I like it because it gives us, we don't have to, that's less time to drive somewhere. I think once we get to a point where, we need to come in person, we can do that. But I think that the drive time adds additional time to the meeting.
So Vivian, we need some volunteers, some college kids, maybe some high school kids to go around to restaurants and try and enlist more of them.
Right. I think maybe that's the next step after we have some clear idea of where we're going with this, clear idea is get with a script to go out there and engage them in it.
Okay.
I like the idea of the work group staying small just because, typically when you get work groups too large, you don't get as much accomplished. My personal experience working with larger and smaller work groups. So this work group here is small enough so that we can get the first part, all the research done, and then let's engage some more folks in. The next meeting, if we all bring somebody with us, that'll keep growing the group, and then we'll continue to ask folks to come in, and I agree, I will get some volunteers to go out there and start talking to everybody about what we're doing to see who we can get on board.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we
Sounds
need
good.
a summary of what we discussed today to go out. Hope somebody took some notes.
I know what our marching orders are from this point forward. I'm going to get together with Derek to get the list of items of possible, see what we could do with Cisco and Cheney and the list of items or the companies that we could use. I asked if Kent and Molly and maybe the chamber can look at how we can market PR, what kind of incentives we can put around this. And we're all going to reach out to the folks that we know that are already doing some of this, or restaurants that are engaged or excited about this, and invite them to the next meeting. Right? Is there anything else I missed?
Sounds good.
Yay, I'm excited. Thank you all.
Thank you, Kent.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Take care.